Hi, everyone. I'm Max from AFM. Welcome to the Pilot Training Connect podcast, where we interview individuals from the pilot training industry to learn more about their organizations and their views. Every week, we invite an industry leader to sit down with us. And this week, I have the great pleasure to be joined by Capt Nadhem Alhamad, CEO at T3 Aviation Academy. T3 Aviation Academy is a leading aviation training group headquartered in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. Welcome to the Pilot Training Connect podcast, Nadhem.
Hi, Max, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm enjoying the recovery in the aviation industry. What about yourself?
First of all, you're using my word, which is copyrighted only for me. It's fantastic. And yes, I think we are living a very exciting, very challenging, very rewarding period of after the pandemic. I don't know if we are post-pandemic yet, but I assume so.
Yeah, I don't think it was officially declared yet by WHO, but it certainly feels like it. So, Nadhem, for everyone who is listening, can you give us an introduction to who is T3 Aviation Academy and who is Captain Nadhem Alhamad?
Okay, we'll start with the T3 Aviation Academy. You know, T3 Aviation Academy come with a history of more than 15 years now in airline pilot training specifically, you know, for ab initio supplying for the airline. And just in the recent couple of years, during the pandemic, actually, it happened that we rewrote our vision to cover the other side of the aviation training requirements. We are located in UAE, you know, we are in Sharjah. We are part of Arabia Group as a public company. We are a limited company and we are planning to expand soon. And there are a few exciting news to come up.
Fantastic to hear. I know T3 Aviation Academy also now since 7 years, and I've been always amazed at how steadily the academy has grown, and especially how it has weathered the pandemic and kind of positioned for significant growth following it. Can you give an indication in terms of the size of the training operations of T3?
Well, currently, from number of cadets, because our cadets come and join almost 20 months to 24 months, they do the pilot training. I would say we call it the theory, but there is a lot of practical because it is based on competencies. So they spend almost 15 months during this 24 months in simulators and in aircraft. It's only the first 8 months where they spend in a classroom. After that, they spend with our partner airline for almost another 2 years to complete their on-job training and collecting hours, build up hours, and getting their highest pilot license acquired, which is the ATPR. Currently, if we calculate all what we are looking after, because we look at people as soon they join us all the way until they go through the ATPL. We have 335 cadets, and this year, if I'm not wrong, we awarded almost 42 contracts, permanent contracts for our cadets so far this year. 42.
Okay. Just based on that number, you know, more than 300 cadets in the system, I know that already makes you one of the leading pilot training organizations across the wider Middle East region. I also know that you've been most probably one of the academies which has been running an active and successful MPL program for the longest history in this industry. Can you just share maybe a bit more in terms of the history of how long and this program has run, how many students and how many pilots it has graduated over that time period?
Okay, the MPL, I mean, was approved or accepted by the ICAO in 2006. I mean, again, I'm using my memory, which is not dependable now. But I think what we can say, 2006, it was kind of approved by the ICAO and accepted, and then to be adopted by authorities. I think UAE have led those authorities as well in a way that they have accepted. We still see some authorities today that they have actually accepted the MPL, but they have never worked on it or never proceeded to create procedures and requirement within the within that country or that state to produce or to endorse an MPL. However, UAE have done that, and we are also worked very hard with them to achieve that. And in 2007, we officially had the company established, and 2008, it was introduced to the civil aviation, and early 2009, the first classroom started. And that classroom, I think, started with 7 to 8 people, if I remember right. Now, because we monitor also, or like we not monitor, but we keep in touch with people that have early graduation. I know that 3 of them already training captains, 1 is an examiner, 1 involved in management, and 2, I think, flying for other airlines. So that's where we started. And since then, we have kept the MPL alive. I think we can claim we are, as you, I think, mentioned, is the longest successful MPL program internationally that we survived, maybe in the world. I mean, there is no real tracker anymore. But I think, yes, we are there. Now, we carry with us a lot of experience in airline training, pilot training, and MPL and ab initio. And there is a solid ground for that.
Yeah. And once again, just congratulations on weathering the pandemic and being the longest running successful MPL program. I know that has always been, let's say, part of the kind of the core training of the academy. But then throughout the pandemic, as you've mentioned, kind of the vision expanded and your training offering has expanded. Can you kindly share with everyone what all of the current training offering is by T3?
Okay, so as I said, for 12 years almost, the last 12 years, sorry, not the last 12 years, the first 12 years of the academy life were very focused in one product, which is the MPL and airline pilot training. And 3 years ago, there is a change in direction. One of the changing factors was the pandemic. So when the pandemic hit, the market have changed, of course, I think forever. And we had to create a lot of quick products, which was in the market, but was not delivered by us to achieve this demand on the market. One of them, which was the first, is a lot of pilots were redundant, and a lot of them come from big airlines and big aircraft. And in a way, they knew at that time, for them to come back to the industry, normally you have to carry with you a valid license, valid flight. And normally the first to rebound is the smaller, younger aircraft. So we've seen a lot of CCQ, which is cross-crew qualification, from an Airbus 380s to Airbus 320, 340, 330 to 320, and from other aircraft type, 777 as well to 320. So we have managed within 3 months or even less to secure with the authority to produce or to launch those products, which is at that time was very high in demand. So that's one of the CCQ beside the type ratings of A320. And also we could claim we are the first independent ATO that do jet license conversion in UAE, and they can maintain your license. So even if you have been in UAE and you want to keep your license current, we can do that even if you don't work for an official airline in UAE. And vice versa, if you are working in Europe or any part of the world with an ICAO equivalent license, we can apply the conversion with type rating or without the type rating to an UAE license conversion. There is, of course, procedures and processes for that. This is one of the main products that we launched right after the 2020. We followed the commercializing the examination centers, which is a lot of for the rebound. You know, there is a huge demand for a new hire that they required. So we have examination center. Also, one of the time, I mean, the pandemic kept us busy at certain areas, but also I would say we had certain activity lower. So part of the management team, we try to utilize those resources, and we kind of recircle and re-looked at it. And we, I would not say invented, even though it's an innovation, I would say, but we have been able, with all the restriction around, to develop internally, locally, within the company only. It's not even with an external supplier. And ELP software, you know, English language proficiency software, with the manual, with the training, with everything from scratch. And I think that's a lovely experience that we carry as well. And now it's one of the demand. We've signed with so many airlines around. And again, maybe we'll leave it for later, Max, but, or no, why wait? I think
please share.
Yeah, yes, please share this podcast.
Okay.
I think the Arab Aviation Summit happening in Ras Al Khaimah soon. And in that, we probably reveal 2 or 3 new products as well, or a new idea, innovative idea. I think one of the things that we utilized during the pandemic, we created a team to innovate idea. Sometimes the innovation is very simple. You know, you have the same product, but relaunched in a different way. It is for specific customers that they can really enjoy. But I think we'll meet with you in the Arab Aviation Summit. I'm sure you'll be there.
Yeah. So it sounds like initially you expanded your offering first at the different pain points that airlines and pilots were having in the pandemic. But then I did notice that, especially over the past 6 months, you've then expanded the training offering even to include non-pilot specific roles in the aviation sector. Can you share a bit more in terms of the non-pilot segment training offering that T3 currently offers?
Yes, we are also, you know, beside all those products that covers the pilots, we have the IATA training center. So we offer almost, I can't remember the number, but it's almost 40, I think, to 60 or more than that of IATA training courses, whether it is aviation security, whether it is RAM safety, SMS, auditing, quality, compliance. It's basically, it covers all the other ground operation requirement for airlines and the airports, whether airside, you know, in the RAM, you know, loading, load master, load sheets, or within the customer area, the check-in, checking passengers, security awareness, and of course, saying all that, the DGR, one of the very important training that we have is dangerous good, and we are one of the approved dangerous good training organization in the UAE, and we can provide all type of DGR. Actually, we are also the first approved. According to the civil aviation personnel, we are the first DGR training organization to apply the latest ICAO competency-based training in DGR. And I think because we had that experience as well of the MPL, which is competency-based, it's become very basic. And we launched right after those training, which is recently, I think our guys graduated from the ground, is the flight dispatch course. Again, we are the first competency-based. So you can see that most or all our training today is competency-based training. And whether DGR, whether this flight dispatch or pilot training or type rating. And our dispatchers today, I think they are already started their OGT. So with Air Arabia OCC. So very soon we'll see their first graduation, and it will be one of the first licensed dispatchers that we can provide now.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic to hear. And I've been following, you know, at AFM, we've been following this quite extensively. It seems that T3 is expanding on a month-by-month basis and announcing these new products and these new milestones. And it's really fantastic to hear that a lot of this has really originated from kind of the key competency-based learnings from your historical kind of flagship training course. Coming back to the pilot training side of activities, as T3 Aviation Academy, you gave an indication in terms of number of students or number of pilots you currently have in training. What would you say is the capacity and vision of T3 in terms of amount of pilots, high quality pilots trained every year?
It's a very interesting question, because we've been asking this question from a, you know, the MPL or the pilot training have a multiple supply chain stream, and each stream, you know, it have certain width and certain limitation. And we've seen it through the time. I mean, people would remember 2016, 17, up to the early 2018, you know, the academic training or the light aircraft training supply chain was this, and mainly due lack of flight instructors, because they've been taken by airlines and they left that level, or that supply chain phase is almost dry. And we've seen that's happening, you know, years and years out. But I think because of the pandemic, currently, there is two things are restriction or changing the phase. One of them is the simulator availabilities. And that's a primary for airlines, where to rehire, reassess, refresh, plus their normal day-to-day, year-to-year training for pilots. So that's one of the supply chain phases that today I would say it's under high pressure and shortage as well, you know, supply and things. And of course, we are trying with multiple suppliers to increase the capacity on that level. And the other stage is aviation professionals. And I think if you remember Dubai Air Show 2 years ago, we were on a stage together, and we've talked about this, that when the pandemic rebound happens, there will be professional poaching from each other's. And I think it's happening now. Pilots, engineers, cabin crew, ground staff, airport managers, load sheet, check-in counters, all
instructors,
trainers, flight simulator at all stages, at all levels. And, you know, I always try to give this example. And assuming today, year 2022 and 2023, this 2 years, if we need a man hours on aviation, So if we say we need 1 billion man hours, okay, these numbers are just because of the transfers of people, and you resign from somewhere, you apply somewhere, and you go somewhere and get rehired, retrained. And I think if we manage to stabilize, if that was not happening, we might be able to supply 1 billion hours of workforce. However, because of this movement, I think, again, finger in the air numbers, 20 to 25% of that energy, okay, disappears because of the shifting.
Yeah.
While the industry actually needs the every hours to come back, those shifts have reduced it by at least 25%, I think. Maybe, you know, AFM can help us with the better numbers.
Yeah, I can give some indications of things that we've tracked at AFM. So as an example, as a reference point, in 2022, the attrition rates of pilots at US regional airlines was more than 60%. So you can imagine the regional airlines in the US, they're constantly, you know, doing initial training, doing retraining as they keep on having to hire people for the same position. We've also know of quite large airlines, which once again we track at AFM, which have gone very public and said that they are overhiring by an amount of over 20%. I know of two very specific examples, one in the US and one in Australia, simply due to this poaching of staff, which is, you know, resulting in not as efficient operations. To come back to T3, so by the sounds of it, you're really working on the different segments of your pilot training infrastructure. I know you're already one of the largest pilot trainers in the wider Middle East region. Do you think we will see a significant increase in the number of pilots that T3 graduates over the next few years?
I think there will be some increase, but I would not say a huge increase, because we are building a foundation the next couple of years to do, if we are talking just for a pilot, but we'll see more. Our increase is on the other sectors in the aviation. You know, whether the flight dispatches, whether it is the ground operation, check-in counters. But for the pilot, there will be a balance. You know, one of the focus in T3 is we always had somehow a little bit, even before the pandemic, we had somehow a capacity to train more. But we are really focused that we do not train people with least guaranteed or least work opportunity thing. So we try to this. We've been achieving before the pandemic more than 93% contract issuance for all our training. That means the trainee, when he finishes ATPL, it doesn't take more than 1 week to get a permanent contract. And that's, I think, a great achievement. And we've been focused. So even in the future, we will see, I think, an increase, but we will keep those balance very clear to us and to the airlines. There is a huge demand, and there are other techniques to apply. So beside our MPL, because of our partner airline demanded more recruitment, so we opened the channel for the CPL, which will be temporary solution for tactical reasons that fill up certain seats without the huge impact on the MPL cadets, which is our customers, our trainees, to achieve their permanent contract. So we will achieve that, and that door will be technically closed and open based on the market, the industry, and the airline requirement.
I think this is once again a really unique offering that you have kind of come out with, and what really also I feel sets T3 Aviation Academy apart from a larger part of the industry, that you have this flexibility and this capability for these tactical, as you call it, training offerings to provide aspiring pilots or commercial pilot license holders with a path to become qualified airline-ready pilots. So, if there's anyone who is listening who wants to learn more about this, I highly recommend checking out these two programs that T3 is currently running. Nadhem, I want to ask you, how are you currently seeing the industry in terms of like key trends which are developing? I know we've touched upon briefly the increase in poaching, the war on talent, but what would you say are the key trends that you have identified as of right now?
Okay, I think we've mentioned this already, and we can actually see that there will be a few things, but I think the industry recruitment and poaching will settle down. And, myself, I am a very big believer that, you have to keep a balance between things. So even with our trainers, it is always, there is an opportunity. So even if some trainers leaves with a lot of experience, okay, some remain here. So the experience doesn't disappear. So a lot of experienced trainers are with us. And it's always important to see a fresh blood coming as a new trainers, where they have the energy and the competencies and to develop fresh. And, it's different, whether we like it or not, Max. If someone like me, I am 500 years old and been training on previous type of training, and then, 10, 15 years ago or 20 years ago only, we started shifting our training based on exercise or skill-based only to competency-based. So it is a shift. Yes, we are a mix, but the new guys are learning only competency-based, and with the tools and helps that we have, it will be. So I'm really a believer of giving chances for fresh graduates and also people who are inspired to become trainers. There are people who naturally trying to give back to the community, and they're really natural trainers. So this is one. The second one, I will steal it from your social media. Looking at it around, again, I think I agree with it 100%. Seeing the huge demand of airline expansion in the region, GCC and in India, the number of aircraft ordered just within Indian subcontinent and Middle East, it's a huge demand. One of the things that I can say, I would not say predict, but I can see it happening already, is the shift from previously all the training centers being situated or located in Europe and North America and Australia is now, it will be in the region. And I think, the Indian ATOs or Indian Civil Aviation will accept the GCC training center and vice versa. Because we need to confine our needs as much as possible within the region. So I think I've just recently read your note about Air India big order, and I totally agree. So this is one of the items, and I would say last is one of the challenge, opportunity, and inspiring is the digitalization of the aviation training. I don't think we face with that multiple challenges. One of the challenges is primarily all civil aviation, except in general only the OEMs training without going through it. And because of the different ATOs suffer that challenge, with the OEM providers, because whatever program they issue, it gets approved immediately. I would say almost no question. But when ATO produce a program, you ask 5,000 questions and where and this and regulation have to apply to it and things. And also because if we want to go internationally, I think the region needs, whether it's in Asia or GCC, they need a unit to unify the civil aviation requirement, similar to EASA. So GCC could unify the regulation in a way. They can still have their own small changes, but they can unify it together. Because a lot of the digitalization requirement differ, and it's very hard. If I'm creating a software, whether it's for rostering, whether it's to apply and customize it for every single region or every single regulation, plus the style and culture of that company as well, which is digitalization is always an issue. So I'm looking at, I think, I don't know, I mean, maybe we can talk on another session about the AI in aviation training, because I think this is something is extremely challenging. And we've seen in the last 2-3 months a spike happening all over in a good and in a bad way as well. So I think maybe another session just to speak, maybe with a couple of the guys in aviation training and maybe some technology guys as well to come and explain possibilities, good, bad, and ugly, about the AI, how it will really impact the aviation training.
Yeah. Nadhem, I agree on all of your points, and I especially want to highlight this point about I think we're going to see a decade of extreme growth of the pilot training infrastructure across the wider Middle East, Indian subcontinent region. There is regulatory support, there's the demand by airlines, and there's no shortage of quality instructors and quality management personnel to really build out, grow, and enhance training infrastructure. So in regards to that, I am very bullish. I just want to ask you, in terms of the last trend, what your thoughts are on it. Is we've seen, especially in the pandemic, the pilot profession lose some of its appeal, and especially with the younger generation. But then when movies come out, kind of like Top Gun, or I know there was one in Bollywood as well, and one in China, it really kind of drives the inspiration again for young individuals to consider the pilot career as a profession. I know that T3 over the past couple of months has been going and seeing different universities, going to different educational fairs. So I just want to get your opinion on, what do you think are the trends that we're seeing when it comes to aspiring pilot interest?
Well, the pilots from an education or just training, Max?
Yeah, so from a young person wanting to become an aspiring pilot.
Yes, I think, I was speaking 2 or 3 days ago with one of the parents that they just came to the academy. And I really want to open, like after I hear parents speaking to us, I really would like to open a channel just to educate people who want to be pilots. The amount of misinformed myths and confusions, and I would say false marketing that's happening sometimes, unfortunately, keeps a lot of trainees or inspired pilots outside the field or to achieve their dreams. So There are a lot. We've been doing a couple of sessions, I think, last year to just to chit chat with customers directly. And I think that there are areas. So when it comes, what is requirements? Okay. Because of different level of training happening internationally, and we are open for international students from all over. So I can simplify. You need to finish your high school. You have to be 18 during the final exams with us. So you can apply even when you are 16, even when you are 17, you can join the academy, but your final exam have to be at the age of 18. So that can be achieved. Do I need to do physics and math? Leave it to us. We do the assessment ourselves. Level of English, do I need IELTS or not? No, leave it to us. We do it ourselves. So regardless where you come, what is your educational background? We do the assessment, and you have to pass the assessment that we have in the academy, which is an acceptable mean of assessment to the civil aviation. There are certain medical requirements. You can still wear glasses and be a pilot, okay? You have now the medical and insurances have a huge amount of understanding for a new pilot. So I think with the demands, the higher the demand it will be. So we have also planned quite an open days for young aspiring pilots to come with their parents. I think those open days, I'll make sure the marketing team to inform AFM first. Okay, so you will be, this will be actual physical open days, and we will have digital open days, which is kind of webinar.
Yeah.
So either or. So I
And
don't
are
know
you
if
seeing?
that answers you.
It does mostly, but are you seeing the same amount of interest from aspiring pilots as before the pandemic? Or have you seen a specific spike in the interest from young individuals wanting to become a pilot with T3 now in the last couple of, let's say, last 6 months following the recovery of the pandemic?
A huge spike. If you want the answer, very simple, there is a huge spike on the demand that we see from inspiring parents and the demand. I will leave it to people like you who are reading the market much better than us to give us the reasons behind this. But from fact, yes, we've been getting a huge demand when we've been even like overloaded with the amount of emails, calls, attendance, and booking appointment to explain all this. There is a huge demand, and we've been already I think for the couple of next courses, we are already fully booked. So we are looking for the courses that comes thereafter, third or fourth course coming up. And that's a huge, because of the huge demand that we get.
Okay. And I know demand, so it sounds you're well positioned, you're seeing an increased amount of demand, you're expanding quite quickly. Can you just maybe share with everyone who's listening some of the key challenges that you've currently identified and that either you might be tackling or that you might see the wider industry having to tackle?
Well, at the moment, I would say for people who are inspired to become a pilots, it will be the parent side, not the trainee side. Main reason is cash availability or risk of spending the cash after they experience the pandemic. But of course, there is always a spend. But based on the forecast that we've seen market-wide, there is a huge growth. So that's one of the challenges, I think, certain banks still, but we've seen also a lot of banks restoring their trust in aviation industry, employees, and companies. The other part, which I think still will remain for the next year or two, is the simulator. The simulator availability and demand. And I think jumping from one place to another, it will be still the biggest challenge.
Okay. And you know, like I think what we touched upon as well is the retention of qualified flight instructors, or qualified, and not only flight instructors, qualified instructors. So ensuring that there's a great company culture to ensure the retention of instructors. When I look at T3, I see that you have quite a strong instructional team, which has been with you for quite some time, and I think that's a testament to the company culture that T3 currently has.
Yes, I mean, our training team are very experienced, and they come back with a lot of airline training background. You know, our head of training, he comes with a neighboring airline background. He's been an examiner on 380 for more than 25 years, and with multiple managerial levels. We have the head of synthetic training, comes with a similar background of airline experience, and all over, I think. And one of the very important thing in our maybe training culture or company-wide, we have a very diverse cultures from nationalities. I mean, I think our ratio is from number of employees to the number of nationalities that people is, we are 60%. And I think that's really, really high. Yeah. And also when it comes to gender, in all levels, we are, I think we are almost 50-50. I might be wrong, but I think we are 50-50 in the whole company. But at all levels, we have a lot of things. So yes, we have, and they come, I mean, people coming from Europe, South America, North America, Asia, Far East, Middle East, trainers as well. And we are looking to expand. So with our expansion, we are inviting a lot of people also to join our team, not only in the airline pilot training program, but also on the other elements, on the ground operation training, on dangerous good trainings. And there will be a few areas that we are announcing when you join us on the Arab Aviation Summit.
Perfect, sounds good. I think final question from my side, which I think most people might be curious about, is what does T3 mean? Where did the name originate from?
Okay, that's a very interesting. I thought that would be a first question, but it's okay. Yes, T3 Aviation Academy, and for the first 12 years in our earlier years, we were focused on airline pilot training. But 3 years ago, we made a shift on our mission and vision, and to expand, to go to the other sectors in the aviation industry. And hopefully we'll be adding the education factors by early next year. So T stands for training, okay? And we will focus on training with the high level of opportunity to work. And then we said T training, and then we say, because before it was one sectors, so we'll try to cover the whole 360 area. So we said T or training 360. So we met with our marketing designers and everything. Of course, they are very creative people. So they said T360, we'll take the 360 and represented it in the circular logo around it, and we'll keep the T3. And the T3 is basically have a very aviation sound for it because it stands for Terminal 3, T3, I'm going to gate T3. It's very, very aviation sound. So I think that's, when you look at the logo, it is reflect on that. And of course, our creative team have added a small, nice, futuristic airplane or arrow, with the cyan color, and it's pointing up on the T3, showing that our growth and our futures that's happening. So that's what the T3 looks up on this. And this logo was created after a change in the vision. So this is really represent our current mission and vision, and not vice versa. I can see some companies create a logo and then they try. No, we have very clear mission and vision to coming and working on it very steadily. And our logo purely represent those.
That is absolutely fantastic too. And I think also, right, having Aviation Academy then to the side of T3 just represents the full spectrum and what T3 really is. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today, Nadhem. If anyone wants to learn more about T3 Aviation Academy, please check out their website, T3A, so T Tango 3 for the number 3 alpha.academy. Or also I highly recommend connecting with Nadhem on LinkedIn. I know you're quite active on there. So yes, thank you very much, Nadhem.
Thank you, Max. We invite you for a tea in our offices.
Sounds good. I'll try to come within the next 3 weeks.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
You look good.